Welcome back to Fallout New Vegas. Now, it has been a little while since my last video. Okay, not too long, but I wanted to get this video out as quickly as possible, so that's what I tried doing. So if you haven't already, watch the previous video and come back to this, but if you already watched the previous video, this is all the unique DLC weapons in Fallout New Vegas. Now also, since the last video did so good, it would mean a lot if you like this video, and let's try to get to, I don't know, 1,000 likes again. And with that being said, let's just jump straight into this video. So pretty much the same rules will apply as the previous video, and I'm going to start off here in the Big MT, where I already had finished it in the previous video, and this is just some more cleanup work that I have to do. So I started coming out of the Big MT, and we already have our first crash. So, after I reloaded in from a crash, I just had to clear a couple lobotomites around the area. Not too difficult, but I did have to clear out the area a tiny bit. After clearing out all the lobotomites, it was on to getting my first DLC weapon, which is in Higgs Village in this house. And it is not the best weapon, like not a weapon I'd use a ton. But the first weapon we do get is going to be Dirkline's glove, which is just going to be in his office, sitting like below a bookshelf. And there's a bit of other loot here, but this is the main thing I want. So this is the first out of all 35 that I will need. I then head over to the Forbidden Zone to get another unique. I do find the lair, but that's not really unique. There is like one of 4 in the game, and so I just grabbed one. So I head over to the next glove, which is Dr. Mobius's glove. Now onto the next weapon, which is going to be in this camp over here. Now I am using the gloves I got. Now this is where you can see they're not the best, because against like melee enemies, I'd rather just use a gun or something to deal with them, or even the super sledge. Yeah, because yeah, the unarmed weapons aren't really too great against other unarmed enemies, or melee enemies. But after killing all of the enemies in this area, I then head up to get my next unique. And this one, the third one that I need, is another unique sniper. It's like the Gobi campaign scout rifle I already have, but this one just has a suppressor on it. That's like the main difference. It's a very, very good sniper that I will be using for pretty much the remainder of this run. I then head back to the sink to make a little bit more money, because I have to reobtain the X2 antenna, because at the end of the other video, I didn't know if I was gonna keep doing this challenge, so I sold the X2 antenna without thinking. Yeah, probably wasn't the smartest idea. But on to my fourth one, which is a Tesla cannon that can be found just in like the top right corner of the Big MT. It's pretty alright. It's called the basically Elijah's Tesla cannon. Something about like Father Elijah from the Brotherhood, or Elder Elijah. Yeah, you know, the what do you call it? Just that whole lore and all that. So after getting that, that's my fourth, and then for my fifth, I sell a bunch of stuff, and that is my X2 antenna back. Now, before I decided to leave the Big MT and go do a different DLC and get some of the different weapons, I had to stop by here because I wanted to upgrade my stealth suit. Now, it did take me a little while, but after a while, I did end up finishing this area fully complete and got everything done. So, big buff to the stealth suit, but honestly, it still wasn't that great because I still had to keep repairing it, and I didn't want to spend money because I need a lot of money for all these DLC weapons, which you'll see. I then stopped by Van Graff's on my way out of the Big MT to kill Gloria Van Graff, just to grab some extra combat armor and some more things I could sell. I then stopped by Mick and Ralph's to get my sixth weapon, which was basically this like Mantis Gauntlet. It's a unarmed, and it's pretty good actually. It's comparable with some of the later unarmed weapons, so very good pickup there. I then just went to the Venatron to browse basically what I would need. There's a couple weapons that I need here, so a couple things like SMGs. I also need a rifle and a pistol, as well as some melee weapons from that Venetron. But that would require a lot of money, so I decided, you know what? Let's start a DLC that does not require any real money to get some of the uniques here. And that is Lonesome Road. Actually, one of my favorite, I think Lonesome Road really is my favorite DLC outside of Old World Blues. Old World Blues, probably the best, but if I had to say second best, it's gotta be Lonesome Road. Some people would say Honest Hearts, but I just think Lonesome Road's amazing with the rewards and all that it gives. So, after I started Lonesome Road, we have to get EDE, and he sets up everything with the whole storyline, you know, nukes, Ulysses, all that. And we have to head through the area, and next we head outside to the Hopeville missile site. Now at the Hopeville missile site, this is where the DLC fully starts basically. So I have to kill a bunch of marked men, and this is where I get Red Glare. Now, a lot of people might say Red Glare is a unique, but it's actually not. You see, Red Glare, there's about, I think 3, and 2 of them are found right here. One of them is on the marked man, while the other is just laying out in the open for you to grab. Now, since these are not uniques, normally I would keep this, but since it's not counted under as a unique, I will not be counting this. So I will be just selling this so I can actually buy some other stuff. Now, onto some further exploration through the DLC. I went to go kill some tunnelers in the caves and the high underground highway. I then went to the Ashton missile site where we launched a nuke to unlock the Courier's Mile. Now there is something in the Courier's Mile that I will eventually be getting, but right now I wanted to make it through the original DLC, so I just went here to watch the sparks fly with the nuke. After watching the nuke explode and make the Courier's Mile, I then head on to the next area, which is heading towards Ulysses Temple. So this area, I die a little bit, but even though I die a little bit, I still make my way through. EDE then, shocks me and goes to Ulysses Temple, and this whole part starts. Now, luckily, I never store stuff on companions. Kind of a shocker, I know. I probably should have been storing my uniques on a companion instead of running all the way to New Vegas and put stuff in the penthouse. But, I don't know. I just never do. It's out of habit. I just don't put anything on the companions. So I made my way towards the Ulysses Temple, and I killed a couple marked men along the way, but overall it was nothing too much to write home about, and that was pretty much it with that. I level up around this time, and this is where I had to put points into unarmed, because you will see there's going to be an item that I will be getting in the Divide that I need, I think it's exactly 75 unarmed to craft, and I'll show that item when we get to it. Now, I took a bit of a pit stop by the Venetron at the Gunrunners, basically because I wanted to grab this SMG, which is another unique that I will need. It is called Sleepy Time. Yeah, it's only called that because it's just a 10mm SMG with a silencer. Nothing too much to write home about. I then headed into Ulysses Temple after that, and I had to kill a bunch of sentry turrets and sentry bots and all that. Pretty much, nothing too much to write home about. More of the same. I then, of course, had to free EDE, who was trapped in his pod, and I got him to come with me. So, with EDE, it is time to fight Ulysses. So, how we're going to do this fight is pretty easy. We are just going to absolutely rush him with a super sledge, because he may be the strongest boss in the game, way stronger than Legatlantius, but yeah, he is not immune to a super sledge. I do notice, he has this medical eyebot who keeps shooting him, Yeah, he's not too much of an issue after that. So after the Eyebot is destroyed, I can basically just run up to him and kill him. Yeah, it's not too bad. And that is where I finally obtain my next unique, which is Old Glory. Now, I obtain other things like his masks, some medics, you know, all that pretty much. But the main thing we want here is his unique melee weapon, because it does a lot of damage, and my Super Sledge is running out of durability rapidly, so I need something else to basically replace it while I'm, you know, still trying to do melee. So after he's fully dead, it is time to launch the missile. Now this is the only place where you can get locked out of a unique. Now, I made sure not for that to happen, and I launched the nuke at both the NCR and the Legion. So with that, the nuke was headed out, and the DLC is pretty much over. And that is Lonesome Road, one of the best DLCs in the game. Hands down. At least second best. Just saying. After the divide is fully exploded, and I get an extra point and all that, extra strength point, because I didn't show it, but yes, I put a point into strength with the extra perk that you get after completing the DLC. And for my level up, it was very important that I get my barter up as high as possible, because I do not want to be paying like an extra 100,000 caps over the course of all the weapons I'm going to have to buy from Gunrunner's Arsenal. That is the main thing that I am sure of. So after that DLC is done, it is time to get some more uniques. I head back into the divide after the DLC was over, and it is time to grab my next unique, which is just on this lamppost, and it's a knife. Now, this is the lowest resolution knife I think I have ever seen in this game, or any Fallout game. It's just like a Bowie knife called the Blood Nap. It's pretty alright, but nothing crazy to write home about. But next is a pretty fun unique to get. So you have to kill this Mother Deathclaw named Rar, and yeah, it's not too hard. If you have the right perks and all that, it's not too hard. Now, if you don't, yeah, this is a extremely hard fight if you don't have the right perks. But for me, I just hit him once and he like fell over. So yeah, not too hard. But you do find a Deathclaw claw. You know, get it? Deathclaw claw. Yeah, funny. And then after grabbing the Deathclaw's claw, we head over to this workbench, and it is time to craft a weapon with it. I never really used the workbench, but this is one of the first times I'm using it to actually craft a weapon, which is the Fist of Rar, a unique weapon and the 10th one that I'm getting. So, a very, very good weapon. It is on par with some of the other melee weapons and unarmed weapons, so it is one of the best weapons in the game. So with that, it is on to the next weapon, which I actually end up getting from the Vindatron. And that is the Bozar, one of my favorite weapons from the older Fallouts, like Fallout 2. Very, very good weapon with a nice sound, so pretty nice weapon, and a pretty cool animation mod that I had for it. So it was on my way to the Long 15. Now, at the Long 15, I don't know why when I was like going through Mojave Outpost, I was vilified by the NCR. They just didn't feel like shooting me. I don't know if it's because of a mod I had that was like breaking something in their AI, but yeah, no, they were just not shooting me, so kind of a plus? Yeah, I ended up getting through Long 15 pretty easily, and I got legitimately some of the best power armor in the game. I also had a perk from a mod I had that allowed me to just wear this, so if you're like, but you never got Brotherhood training, no, I just had like a perk from the mod that allows you to get power armor training without having to do the quest, so that's why I can wear this. Nothing too crazy, just I don't want to have to do an entire quest just to wear some power armor. It's just through a perk, so don't go crazy about it, please. Thank you. So I do grab the grenade launcher though after that, and then it is on to Dry Wells, where I have to kill Gaius Magnus. Now Gaius Magnus, not too hard when I have power armor and a super sledge, but yeah, I do get his armor as well, but it's so heavy, and it's also just not as good as the power armor from the NCR. So I don't know why they made it like that, but whatever. I then get my next grenade launcher, which is the NCR version. So the Long 15 and the Drywell's grenade launchers, they're pretty much exactly the same, just one is blue, one is red. There's like no difference. But after that, we're gonna be on a roll for some uniques, because next is the unique shish kebab, which is called Gina, I don't know. Pretty cool shish kebab, just costed a lot of money. And then another weapon that we are getting is going to be a Novak, which is from the guy that runs the gift shop. He just, for some reason, has like a laser pistol, recharging laser pistol, something like that, man. It's just like a laser recharging pistol. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, you shoot it, and it's pretty cool. It recharges over time, so I basically don't have to worry about ammo with anything after this. But after getting a pretty good chunk of all the uniques, it was time to start another really good DLC, which is Honest Hearts. Again, this one rivals, I would say it rivals Lonesome Road and Old World Blues for me, but I don't know, it could go either way with me for which DLC is better. Just this one has a lot more story, I would say, than some of the others, but I do like it. It's a really good DLC. But to make my way through this DLC, I switched to the Courier Duster because, you know, even though I have 10 strength, apparently Jed wouldn't let me carry more than 75 pounds on the way to Zion. So I don't know why he did it like that, but I just had to go with what I had, and that's why we are using the Courier Duster, because it gives pretty good damage threshold, and also it's very lightweight, so it's pretty good. So after that, I then have to meet Follows Chalk in this area, and after meeting him, I just told him basically go back to the Dead Horses camp. I then went over to get my first unique, which is my favorite DLC unique, the Survivalist Rifle. One, because of the cool story and lore behind it. I could do that in a video maybe one day about the lore with some Fallout New Vegas. I don't know. Let me know if that'd be cool. Kind of just a thought I had, but it does sound pretty cool. It's a pretty cool rifle, and great lore behind it with Randall Clark. So I then spoke with Joshua. Then after that, I did do a couple quests, and then I headed over to talk to Daniel, basically because I said, you know what? Let's just like keep Zion and not run away from it, because you know I didn't want to have to come back and then like realize that I can't because we evacuated. I then had to talk to Joshua Graham on my way out of the camp, and then I also had to talk to Waking Cloud to get another quest. So for this quest, it is where I have to go to Whitebird here, and we have to basically get a bunch of the Datura plants, and this is when we get another unique for completing this quest. Now this is probably one of the best quests when it comes to getting a unique weapon, at least in my opinion, because it gives some sort of a story and also awards something pretty cool at the end. So basically, you have to come over here, kill the Ghost of She, like any way possible, and then after you finally kill the Ghost of She, which it takes a little bit because they keep like spawning in, they're all on fire, you get the item and then you have to go back and turn it in, and with that you get She's Embrace, which is a pretty cool weapon, and it's also another cool unarmed weapon. So not as good, I believe, as the Fist of Rar, but a pretty good weapon overall. Then for the 18th weapon, it is the Compliance Regulator. Now the Compliance Regulator is very similar to a couple of their laser pistols, but also not, because it kind of shoots out a blue beam and looks a bit different, but the main thing it can do is stun enemies, so that is a pretty big bonus and a good thing that this weapon does. So on to the last part, which is basically just I have to get done with Honest Hearts to get the rest of the items that I need. So for that, it is time to start the final mission of Honest Hearts, which requires me to talk to Daniel, and after speaking with Daniel, I then have to speak with Joshua Graham, and this is when he joins basically as a companion just for this small little section of the quest. So I have to run all the way over and kill a bunch of white legs all along the way, and that's pretty much the entire section, if you've played this DLC at least. I just have to run along this entire area and kill just a bunch of white legs, and that's basically about it. So after killing them, I head over to Salt Upon Wounds, and now time for his boss fight. Now, this boss fight is honestly not hard at all. You just have to kill him. Now, I could have had Joshua Graham just, like, shoot him, but yeah, I didn't feel like that. I felt like, you know, actually trying to fight him, and it wasn't too hard. Once again, because I was, like, extremely over-leveled, but, you know, he did put up maybe a tiny bit of resistance, but yeah, he was absolutely no match when he kept getting knocked over with a weapon. But I did end up killing him, and I grabbed his Power Fist. I then talked to Joshua Graham, and that ended the DLC. And that is the 19th and the 20th weapon obtained. So for the 19th, I didn't show it, but I did grab the Power Fist on my way out. And for the 20th weapon, it is a Light Shining in Darkness, which is Joshua Graham's unique pistol, which I also grab here. And then it is on to my next weapon. Now, for the next long list of weapons, it is mostly just going to be me buying stuff. So the first weapon I buy is going to be from Mick and Ralph's, and it is going to be the Nuka Breaker. This is basically just like a neon sign that does electrical damage, and I get a lot of my caps just by selling a bunch of the stuff I got from the Honest Hearts DLC, and it is time to make even more caps, which I do by killing a bunch of gun runners, grabbing their combat armor. Basically, I'm going to skip forward a lot through this section, because there's going to be like another 10 weapons that are purely just me grinding money. So I kill a lot of gun runners. I then go to the casino and make a lot of money that way as well. And after making a bit more money, I was able to get my 22nd unique, which is going to be the Greased Lightning, which is purchasable at the Brotherhood of Steel and is obtainable there. Now, after that weapon is obtained, it is on to some weapons I technically got when I started the game, but I didn't put these since these were not in the DLC video when I first did it. So here are the weapons: the Mercenary Grenade Launcher, the Sturdy Caravan Shotgun, the Withered 10mm, and the Broad Machete. All of these I obtained in Doc Mitchell's house at the beginning, but I didn't put it in the other video because that was only base game weapons. I then got my 27th unique, which was a unique hunting rifle, which can be found at the gift shop once again in Novak. And after I bought that weapon, it is on to getting the 28th weapon. Now, the road to getting the 28th weapon can be found a little bit outside of this area, and it's going to be mostly back towards the Venetron, but to get that, I had to make even more money. And now the way I did that was killing a lot of boomers, because they have grenade launchers, missile launchers, Fat Mans. Explosives make money. Like an average like grenade launcher was worth like 2,000 to 3,000. So that is a lot for NPCs that do respawn. So for my next weapon, which my 28th weapon was the Two-Step Goodbye, which is another unique kind of unarmed weapon, like a not really a Power Fist, but it is kind of like a display circle of some sorts. I then headed over to the Hoover Dam to make some money by killing some more NCR soldiers, because their weapons also gave a good amount of money. So specifically like the Rangers and all that. And with even more money, I was able to get my 29th unique from the Vindatron, which after selling a lot of ammo, I barely scraped by. With 12,000 caps, I bought Esther, a unique Fat Man, which I didn't use actually that much because, you know, I don't really have much to do after this. So I then grabbed my 30th unique, which I went to the Divide to make this money, and for this unique, it is another pretty cool unique. One I usually buy, actually, when I go through a normal playthrough. It is the Medicine Stick. This is a really, really cool kind of cowboy repeater and really good weapon overall. The next is my 31st weapon, which is the Lil Devil. It is a 12.7 millimeter pistol and pretty cool pull-out animation, and yeah, pretty cool weapon overall. I then went back to the Vindatron and everything was clear there. Now, let me explain something. I am opening up a console here, but I needed to put a big disclaimer. If you see me typing this in chat, all this command does is basically it allows me to reset Gunrunner's arsenal to allow me to purchase the weapons I should be allowed to buy, which you can see, like, I'm hovering over it. I should be able to buy these, like the Cleansing Flame. Usually this would be bought from Gloria Van Graff, but because she died, it doesn't allow it to be purchasable. I'll put it up on screen right now. It is a known bug, and if you look up, this is a fix. It doesn't alter anything. It doesn't give me extra money. It's literally just fixing a bug. So, there you go. Just to be rest assured, I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. This is how I got it working. But I basically just took some caps, and I bought the rest of the weapons that I needed. And that gets us all the way to weapon 34 to get weapon 35. I'm not going to do the entirety of Dead Money, because, I mean, I don't have to, because all we have to do is start it, and we get the 35th and final unique weapon. And that is every single unique weapon in Fallout New Vegas. But I think I'm missing one. Let's get it real quick. We start in Doc Mitchell's house, pick Skilled and Trigger Discipline. And it is time to head over to where I got the Alien Blaster originally, but we're getting the old weapon, which is the unique Gauss rifle, which you can't get either the Alien Blaster or the YCS 186. You can only get one or the other in each playthrough you do. So I started one up, and this is the 36th. That was the 36th weapon. And that's every single unique weapon in Fallout New Vegas. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Basically, I really enjoyed getting all the unique weapons in this game. I'm probably going to do the same in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 eventually, but for now, I have some other plans for Fallout. I was thinking about doing Tale of Two Wastelands for New Vegas for the next video, so that'll come out in maybe a couple weeks, maybe a month or something like that. But that's kind of what I plan on doing, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe, and with that being said, peace.